Hey, Will, after the first match of the year, everybody was asking the guys that stepped to the podium about the formation and what they thought of it and how quickly you guys kind of came together. I was just curious to get your thoughts on that and how that'll play out going forward. Obviously, it's not a finished product by any means, but what do you feel about how the way things have gone so far?
Yeah, I think it was good. I think the first half was a little slow. I mean, we were still, trying to get used to the formation a little bit more. I mean, I didn't have much time with Raúl up top in preseason, but there are a lot of reasons for that. But I think we settled into it after a tough first half. We knew Minnesota was going to come out and really attack us and kind of play for revenge. But we weathered the storm a little bit, got through it, and then settled into the game and had a really good second half. But I enjoy the two forwards. It lets me as a forward, it lets me be a little more creative, give me a little more space to operate in. That comes with more responsibility on the defensive side, but I'm enjoying it. I'm really excited about it, and I look forward to keep it going.
Hey, Will, much is said, and for good reason, about the forward's ability to finish. But it seems to me, I was looking at the stats and everything else, that there's something about you guys, the passing, the quality of your passing, not only from the midfield, but of the forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about the quality of your passing, because you guys are second in MLS assist. How good is the quality of the front line passing?
Yeah, I think all the attacking players we have are very good passers as well. Every forward, every goal scorer wants to score the goal, but when you have multiple goal scorers on the field, you want to be able to combine and have good chemistry with your strike partner. And sometimes that you make the extra pass, let somebody else score, and vice versa. Next time he'll do it to you, and that's just how it is. That's good chemistry, and like I said, I think all of our attacking players are very good finishers, but also good passers as well, and they see the whole game.
Hey, Will, in that same theme, this formation demands a lot of link-up play. How much do you have to perhaps think of field awareness or where to be or where other guys are compared to maybe other formations?
Yeah, I mean, back into my early days of my career was the last time I played with two forwards. So I think, it's still just getting comfortable in different pockets on the field and different positions on the field. Because, when you play one forward formation for so long, just throughout your career, you kind of become comfortable in the positions that you need to be in the places you need to be. So I think, having some more freedom, being able to pop up in some soft spots and different places on the field is good for me. It gets me thinking again. It gets me, going and seeing the game from a different perspective as opposed to just being a lone forward and staying high. So, I think that's been really good. And to allude to the passing question, I think, all the forwards we have combined together really well, and it shows on the field.
Yeah, and a lot of people see your size and they don't expect you to be as good on the ball or have the finesse that you have on your passing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that play that came up in Raúl's goal, and the way you kind of turned and end up assisting on that?
Yeah,
play?
I kind of like to consider myself as a hybrid forward. Like you said, people look at me and they think it's just a prototypical big number 9, kick it up to him, let him hold it, drop it off, and get in the box. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing that, but I also like to drop in and get on the ball, get involved in the buildup, and to that specific play, I kind of felt Coleman. I knew he was behind me, and he was been aggressive all game, so I knew he was going to be coming up hard. Honestly, I kind of expected him to foul me, but I was pretty close to the box, so I wasn't sure how hard he was going to go in. I was able just to roll him, and then I saw Raúl start to make that cutback and around the PK spot that he likes to go to. And he's a great finisher. So if I just keep it on the floor, keep a smooth ball, he'll finish it. And, or in those areas, you just go on instinct.
Will, in the aftermath of some of the Super League stuff, I've seen some renewed chatter about MLS, maybe trying to partner a little bit more with Liga MX long-term. Have you given any thought about whether that's something that you would be for as a player, especially as an American player who kind of came in within the MLS system, what that might mean for just MLS players in general, but specifically American players?
Yeah. I'm all for anything that's going to grow the game and, make it more desirable for people to watch and play. And I think it would bring a lot of attention, but like you said, I've been around this league a long time. So it's kind of cool to see, from the beginning to now that now we could be partnering with Liga MX in different leagues and stuff like that. And, that shows the strides that MLS has come. And as a player, you always want to be playing the best players. And, Liga MX has got some really quality players and good teams. So I think that would be cool. But MLS is already a very busy schedule as is. So it's tough to find more dates for more games.
Will, when you look at LAFC, what do you think will be the key for not only yourself to be successful, but for the team?
Yeah, it's going to be, a tough game down there. They like to high press, and, with our new formation, I think we play out of the back very well. So I think if we're able to kind of control the tempo and control how we play out of the back and how we keep the ball in possession, move it from side to side, I think that's going to be huge for us. I think if we kind of, just start lumping the ball when we get under pressure, it could be a long game. But, we've been working really hard so far at training on making sure we play, we keep the ball. And, I think when we do that and we move it side to side, we're the best team in the league at, getting out of tight spaces and then going on a counter.
Last week you faced a team that did high press a fair amount. What do you think you guys learned from Minnesota, and what can you kind of carry forward into this LAFC game?
Yeah, I think that first half of Minnesota, like you said, they came out and they high pressed. They were all over us at the beginning. And I think we kind of, I don't want to say we weren't ready for it, but I think we weren't anticipating how high they were going to press and, how much tempo they were going to press with. I think kind of caught us by surprise a little bit, but once we settled into it and figured out that, we need to move it side to side. We can't just go down the same side every time we start our attack. When we start on the left, finish on the right, that creates so much more space, or vice versa. And I think once we realized that and kind of, settled the game down and moved the ball around a little bit better, gaps opened up and, our quality took over.
Will, I wanted to go back to what Matt asked a minute ago about Liga MX and that we're dealing in a world of hypotheticals with this, but there has been some conversation. Other than the attention that something like that might draw, what would be the benefit for MLS to, whether it be one giant, North Central American league or just having more regular games with Liga MX, benefit for the MLS?
I think first thing that comes to mind is the benefit would, be a lot more eyes on the games for MLS. You want to be able to hit the whole North American market, and then teams playing teams outside of MLS that kind of play a different style or different way or have different tactics. I think it's good for individual teams as a whole in the league to, play against different competition, because, MLS, every game's tough. A lot of teams play the same way sometimes, same tactics. I think when you get out of your comfort zone, you even see in Champions League games, it's like there's a lot of stuff that goes on in those games. So I think when you play teams in different leagues that have different tactics that you're not used to, it helps your team grow a lot. And I think that would help teams in the league, kind of grow in the way they play and the way they do things tactically.
So you see it as the potential for a progression of the types of styles and the types of essentially skills that.
For sure. Yeah, I see it as a progression in the way the league is evolving as well, because, if somebody would have said this, I'll say even 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago, people would have been like, oh no, they can't compete with Liga MX. They're never gonna be in the same, they're never going to be teaming up with them. It's just MLS, but now I think we're getting that respect as a league because we're going into, on the road and place and getting results, different clubs and stuff. So I think, I think it's good for the league as a whole to be able to get that exposure as well.
Hey, Will, I was just looking at your stats to prep for this, and it's kind of hard to believe you've been here in Seattle almost as long as you were down in Houston.
I know, it's crazy. And now
So
2 kids later.
How do you think you compare now to the player that the Sounders acquired back in 2016?
So I definitely think I'm more of a well-rounded player now. I think I'm smarter, and maybe that just comes with, getting a little older, just a little older. But, I think I'm smarter in the way I use my energy and get in spaces. When I was younger, in Houston, I would just run around like a madman and kind of tire myself out. And then on the offensive side, my legs would be tired. I think now, I work with the coaching staff and getting in pockets and spaces earlier, even defensive angles and stuff. And, you have more energy on the offensive side. And, that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
And then when Montero comes on and plays so well, do you feel straightforward happiness for a teammate, or does that also stoke a little bit of that competitive fire?
You always have the competitive fire, but, from what I've got to know from Freddie so far, he's a great guy. I think he deserves everything. That goal, I think, was perfectly fitting for him to come back. I didn't know that was the goal that was going to make him the leading scorer too. So that's just awesome to see it, because he does that all the time at training, and that's not an easy finish. That's a really hard ball to finish. So I was very happy for him, and it's just like it was just the 4-0 goals coming, and it's just you can't not be happy.
Thanks.
Hi, Will. Talking a little more about the formation. Obviously, the two forwards are working, and you also show your footwork skills. But when you drop to get the ball, how's the communication with a midfielder? You guys talking about transition overlap, so they know it's your ball if you drop in the midfielder zone?
Yeah, I try not to drop too deep. When I say drop in, I kind of want to drop in between the opposing teams holding midfielders and in front of the center backs. So therefore the center backs have to make a choice if they're going to step with me or kind of just let me go. And, if they step with me, then that opens up space for the other forward to go in behind them, or a midfielder to run in behind from deep. And if they don't go with me, then, I can get on the half turn or lay it off and switch the point of attack and stuff. But it's just all flow of the game. It's stuff that comes natural. And, I never want to be dropping, all the way back to our center backs to get on the ball, just because that's not me. I let other people do that. So it's this fine line between dropping back and dropping back too far.
And Will,
Well,
on that, go ahead. Somebody go ahead. Go ahead, John.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to say, Will, also, it seemed like another benefit of the new formation was that there are always more people in the box, and that gives you guys up front more looks, more chances to score. So that also had to be very satisfying.
Yeah, for sure. Whenever there's numbers in the box, it's greater chance of the ball going in the back of the net. So, we want to have 3 guys in the box, crash in the box at all times when there's crosses coming in. And when you have more people forward, you get more numbers in the box. But at the same time, you got to make sure you're ready on the other side of that. If the ball pops out, the other team will start a counterattack. So, it's a fine line of committing too many numbers forward, but making sure you hit all the spots in the box.
Well, I was just going to ask, how important is it when teams are high pressing, and you mentioned this, for the forwards not to come back and try to help the defense, and eventually you get compacted, there's no outlet passes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're right, because when a team's high pressing and you're trying to get out, if you drop in too far, you're just inviting the center backs to step and create even more numbers in a condensed space. So you want to be able to stay high and be an outlet, because at the end of the day, if you can't get out and you try to get out, you can always lump it forward. Better safe than sorry. And you need to have an outlet up top that can hold the ball or fight for it and make sure it's not just an easy clean up for the opposing team. So you definitely do want to make sure you stay high and have an outlet when you're trying to play out.
Hey, Will, how do you balance keeping the momentum but not being overconfident of a 4-0 win going into this LAFC game?
Yeah, it's it's 3 points, whether it's 1-0, 4-0, 10-0. We're not looking, at what the final score was. We just approach every game like, hey, this is a game for us to get 3 points, whether it's at home or on the road. So like I said, it's MLS. Every game's different. Every game's hard. So that Minnesota game for me was kind of a tale of 2 halves. Second half obviously being much better, but it's done with. We learned from what we could have done better in the first half and the second half, and we implement it this week leading up to the game against LAFC, because we know that we've played them a lot, and when you play teams like that are competitive a lot, it creates a rivalry. So I think there's a little bit of animosity between the two groups, and it'll be a fun game.
In that sense, do you see the group spirit or motivation kind of race up to this game? Do you get wind up to go to play at LAFC?
No, I wouldn't say you get wound up. I think it's we know they're a very good opponent. We know they're a very good team. It's a tough place to play. So we understand that. We know we need to turn it on just a little more. We need to focus just a little more. And that's how it is in this league. I'm not going to say it's the second week of the year, so I'm not going to say we're getting wound up, a do or die game and everything like that. But, there's always a little more when it's a West Coast rivalry.
Will, I'm just curious. How would you assess your game, and if you talk about the evolution of it, your game from Friday, if you look at the evolution of it, do you think you would have looked back on a game where you had 0 shots and been happy with how you played, which I imagine you probably were?
No, honestly, I look back at the game and I was not happy with the way I played in the first half. And, it's just a combination of a lot of things, the way the whole first half went. I feel like the 20 something minutes I was in the second half was way better. I was way more involved, got on the ball way more than in the first half. But I think that's just, how the game flowed. So I'm not going to say, oh, I'm pissed because I didn't score, because that's just, as a striker, you want to score. But at the same time, it's like you said, I feel like I could have got into the box in better positions to get shots, but I still feel like I was getting on the ball and, laying teammates off and being a little more involved in the attack.
Hey, Will, can you hear me? This is Josh.
Yeah.
Gross.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, I was on the LAFC call earlier today, and Bob Bradley was highly complimentary of Raúl Ruidíaz and the effect that he had for you guys against LAFC, and called him an interesting challenge. Have you seen Raúl take a step up against LAFC? Is this consistently what he does across the league? Can you sort of talk about his efforts against Bradley's team heading into the next
Raúl
week?
scores goals. That's what he does. He likes the big stage, big games, going into LA, nationally televised game. I'm sure he's going to be up for it. So that's Raúl. You can never turn off against him because he can score. Just like that. It's how he is. He's comes alive in the final third in the box, and he's somebody that's always a threat. And playing along somebody like that, you love to play along somebody like that, because defenders got to know where he's at all times. So it frees up some more space for me. And I think vice versa, I free up a little bit more space for him too as well. So I think it's been a good partnership so far, but we're still working on it.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Will, Charles Bowman with MLSsoccer.com. You mentioned that.
Sorry, I think you muted.
Sorry. You mentioned the edge of this matchup has, and the intensity of the match. And I know we tend to overuse the rivalry word sometimes in this league, but why do you think it sort of rises to that level? What do those games look and feel like? And what do you think you have to do to get the result you want this weekend in this matchup?
Yeah, I think whenever you face a team in the playoffs a lot, it just naturally, turns it up a little bit. And that's been the case with LAFC and us. But like you said, it's going to be a good game. It's always a battle against them. They're a very well coached team. They play a very specific style. They high press. So, we know what to expect. And if we make sure that we play out of the back well, keep possession well, they don't want to have to defend for long spells of the game. And I think that can work in our favor because we're good at keeping possession, moving it side to side, and then going. But they also have a lot of dangerous players going forward on counter. So we're going to have to make sure that we nip that in the butt if there's a transition moment, or, like I keep saying, just taking care of the ball, because we don't want to go down there and have it be a track meet. That's just, you don't want to do that on the road. But at the same time, you don't want to sit in, because that's just as dangerous. So I keep reverting back to it, but I think, just keeping possession in the back and kind of methodically building up and dictating the way we want to play and the tempo we want to play at is going to be huge.
Are there any last questions for Will, guys? We'd like to get Coach Schmetzer started here shortly. So last call for any Will Bruin questions. All righty. Will, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the time as always.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Round of applause for Will Bruin. That was freaking.
Did I have all the politically correct answers?
Yeah, you did fine.
You were great. I loved it.
Hey, I learned from you there.
I loved it.
All right. No crying babies either. That was good.